Good afternoon, my viewers. Today is another great day where I will revisit now my academic aspect of YouTube. Remember, I've already started the academic aspect of YouTube. And today I'll be doing alternating. I'll do about 4 videos if it is possible. So I'll be doing biology and then mathematics. But in all these videos, there is a pattern I want people to get used to. I first give the lesson plan, and this one is to assist the teacher. If the teacher would mind to refer to my videos. Then the second part is mainly the students, where I now concentrate on the notes, the areas the students should be keen on. So first I guide the way the teachers will take the lesson. Then I come to the lesson notes. So in brief, what I'm saying is that the lesson plan is for the teacher. It's not for the students. But I'm not saying the student cannot be able to maybe look at it, but solely it is for the teachers. Because what the student wants is the content, and the content is in the notes. So guys, welcome to my first session video. And this lesson is on biology. And the lesson is about classification 1. So in these videos, up to some point, I'm dealing with junior secondary classes. That is, those who are aged between 11 and 14 years. In other words, this is what we normally call Form 1. Later I will come to Form 2, then I'll go to Form 3, and so on. Remember guys, I've been an old teacher who has taught for quite some time, and I know where it pinches. We normally say in English, the wearer of the shoe is the one who knows where it pinches. So in these videos, I try as much as possible to focus on the areas I think students normally have issues. So guys, welcome to the video. And I've said I'm starting with the lesson plan. Then after the lesson plan, we'll come to the notes for the students. Welcome guys. So, welcome to the lesson plan. My dear colleague teachers. So in the lesson plan, the section is classification 1 in biology. And specifically the lesson plan is meant for the junior secondary class ages 11 to 14. And looking at the lesson overview, you have the classification 1 in biology as the topic. Grade level is junior secondary, and the time or duration is 60 minutes. The objectives of the lesson are: understand the purpose and importance of biological classification. Learners should also learn about the main categories of classification. Learners to recognize the characteristics of the 5 kingdoms of life. And finally, the last objective is that the learners should understand the basics of binomial nomenclature. Guys, I decided also to maybe suggest to the teachers the reference books, and I picked two books. One is Kenyan reference book, the other one is international, which you can get from the libraries, or maybe even your school could be having one. So the Kenya reference book is Secondary Biology 1 by Kenya Literature Bureau. And this one is Chapter 3, Classification 1. All right. So the sections in this book, in that chapter, are 3. And the first one is the 5 kingdoms of classification. The next one is binomial nomenclature. And then third is importance of classification. The international book is titled Biology and Global Approach. The authors are Neil A. Campbell, Jane B. Rees, and Lisa A. Ole. And in that book, the topic is in chapter 1, Exploring Life. That is the way it is handed. And in the first section, you have Introduction to Biology, where you have definition and scope of biology, importance of classification in biology, overview of the hierarchical system of classification. Then, in that book again, you jump now and go to chapter 18, the history of life on Earth, where you have now the concepts of classification, the need for classification in understanding the history of life, and introduction to the 5 kingdoms of life. So chapter 1 and chapter 18, in the Kenyan context, we are trying to combine. In this book is chapter 1 and chapter 18, but in the Kenyan reference book is chapter 3. The materials you need are the whiteboard and markers, projector and computer for slides, handouts with classification charts, pictures or specimens of different organisms, chart paper and markers for the group. The lesson structure for teachers, my dear teachers, is you can have an introduction of 10 minutes where maybe greeting and attendance, where you welcome the students and take attendance. Then you have now the icebreaker activity. Ask students to name different animals or plants and discuss how they think scientists might organize themselves. Icebreaker just means, arousing the students now, so that when you come to the lesson proper, they will get what you are talking about. The lesson objectives briefly explain what will be covered in the lesson. Still on the lesson structure, the second thing you do is direct instruction, where you take 20 minutes. And in these 20 minutes, you are going to give the purpose and the importance of classification. Guys, more details will come to the notes on what the teacher would be doing. So here you can present a slide with the definition. That is, biological classification is the process by which scientists group living organisms based on their similarities and differences. Then you can explain that classification helps scientists communicate about organisms, understand their relationships, and study biodiversity. Next thing, you look at the categories of classification, introduce the hierarchical system of classification, where you have the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Then use an example to illustrate the categories. For example, the domestic cat, the domain is Eukarya, kingdom is Animalia, all right? Phylum is Chordata, class is Mammalia, order is Carnivora, family is Felidae, genus is Felis, and therefore the species is known as Felis cactus. So the cat, internationally, domestic cat is known as Felis cactus. So the domain is, there are two domains. You have prokarya and eukarya. We'll come to prokaryotes and eukaryotes very later. For example, when we look at the cell. Now, the 5 kingdoms of life, you look at them: Monera, single-celled prokaryotic organisms like bacteria; Protista, mostly single-celled eukaryotic organisms like amoeba and algae; Fungi, eukaryotic organisms can be single-celled or multicellular like mushrooms and yeast; Plantae, multicellular photosynthetic organisms like trees, flowers, and grasses. I think for flowers, we can call it shrubs and grasses. Animalia, multicellular organisms that are usually motile like insects, fish, birds, and mammals. The teacher can present images and brief descriptions of the organisms from each kingdom. In the binomial nomenclature for the teacher, explain the system of naming organisms using 2 names: the genus and the species. For example, for humans is Homo sapiens. Highlight the rules for writing scientific names. The genus name is capitalized and the species name is the lowercase, and both are italicized or underlined, or in books written in bold letters. Guided practice will take 15 minutes, where you have group activity. Divide the students into small groups. Provide each group with chart papers and markers. Assign each group a kingdom to research and create a poster that includes key characteristics of the kingdom, examples of organisms in the kingdom, an illustration of at least one organism from the kingdom. Ask groups to present their posters to the class. Class discussion. Summarize the presentations and fill in any missing points. Independent practice takes 10 minutes, where you have the worksheets. Distribute the handouts with questions related to classification, including matching organisms to their correct kingdom, short answer questions about the importance of classification, and examples of binomial nomenclature. Completion and review allow students to work on the worksheet individually and then review answers as a class. Conclusion. Summarize the key points covered in the lesson. Questions. Open the floor for any final questions or comments. Homework assignment. Ask students to write a short paragraph on how classification helps in studying biodiversity. And closing, thank the students for their participation. Assessment, formative, where you observation during the group activity and class discussion, and then maybe you can assess them that way. Summative assessment, where where there is evaluation of the worksheet and the homework assignment. Extensions and differentiation for this lesson is that for those learners who are good or they are advanced, provide additional reading materials or advanced classification systems such as characteristics and molecular polygenetics. For struggling students, offer one-on-one support during independent practice and simplify the worksheet if necessary. Please, I'll just call them, they are just slow runners. They are not struggling, they are slow runners, but they will reach there. All right? Remember, learning depends with the individual. Extension activity, plan a field trip to a local botanical garden, zoo, or natural history museum to provide hands-on learning experiences. Reflection. After the lesson, reflect as a teacher when you go home, reflect on what went well and what would be improved. You as a teacher now, at home now, maybe after taking supper or whatever. Gather feedback from students to understand their perspectives and make necessary adjustments for future lessons. This lesson plan provides a comprehensive introduction to biological classification for junior secondary students, aiming to build a strong foundation for further study in the subject. So guys, that is the end of the lesson plan I have suggested for the teachers. So now what I will do is, without much ado, I go to the notes so that the students get the benefit. So for the lesson plan, may I see you guys, may the teachers please consider my suggestion. Also, I would like the teachers to watch this video up to the end. Subscribe to my channel, guys, and give the video a like. Give me a comment if you would like me to improve, maybe when I come to the other classes. See you guys for the lesson notes.